Welcome back to Copy Narrates, and today's stories come from r/relationships. I 31 male feel my wife 26 female is turned into a bully. How do I deal with this? One of her best friends, Amy, is dating one of my ex-co-workers. Small world, I know. When my wife told me about it, she made a few snarky comments about the guy's height. I told her she'd better keep those types of comments to herself, because from what I remembered about Amy's boyfriend, he's very self-conscious. While on a night out with other friends, they were mentioned. My wife was simply asked how Amy was doing, and she responded by saying Amy was busy with her big man, and then explained Amy's boyfriend was really short. Then she elaborated Amy was getting serious with her boyfriend, and threw a few more short jokes. I told her to cut it out. She pouted but stopped. Later in the night, when it was just the three of us, as we were giving a friend a ride home, she started doing it again. I told her again she was overdoing it, and she sucked her teeth, acting like I was spoiling her fun. I chalked up to a one-off night, since bad-mouthing a friend's SO, even in jest like that, isn't the norm. Plus Amy has been a bit more distant since the relationship upgrade, so maybe it was just some unconscious resentment. 2 weeks later, however, she was cracking jokes about being whipped to a different friend, Arn. Arn is one of my oldest friends, and I know, just like she does, that he's been having some marriage troubles, specifically about his wife being controlling. So again, I tell her to ease up. This was in front of Arn, so she used the opportunity to make another snarky remark before finally letting up. I figured I'd nip this in the bud when I privately told her it was cruel and thoughtless to make those sort of jokes to a friend who's going through a rough patch. She sounded remorseful and texted Arn an apology. Then came the incident that's convinced me there's something wrong. We and several friends went to Orlando for a week. My wife is a Disney fanatic, so when everybody had their fill of Disney World and wanted to do something else, I wasn't surprised when she wanted to stay longer and come back the following day. So group plans were altered. A certain long drive was pushed back to the same day. We were going to have dinner at a particular restaurant that was meaningful to her. The group was tired, and one of the girls, Casey, said we should just get some drive-through food and call it a day. My wife became incensed and wanted to force the issue, so in front of everyone I told her to settle down and agreed to Casey's idea. When we were alone, I reminded her that the drive that has everyone tired was supposed to happen on Wednesday, but me and her went to Disney World for the second time, and everyone agreed to wait until the next day so we wouldn't be excluded. So her extra Disney time is why we can't go to another touristy place she wanted to so bad. She conceded and was seemingly well behaved for the rest of the trip. It's not until a week after I found out she'd sent a manic text to Casey the same night we skipped out on the restaurant with mean comments, again targeting what a person is sensitive about, and quite frankly some attempted gaslighting about people wanting to make her feel bad for having fun. Casey responded by calling her a big baby, so my wife blocked her and said she doesn't consider her a friend anymore. Casey is or was my wife's friend for 8 years before this. I know I'm painting a bleak picture here, but believe me when I tell you, this is not how she usually was. The person I was friends with, who then became my partner, was always kind, thoughtful, and not prone to anger. She'd do 90-minute drives to pick Casey from the airport and do it with a smile. They had disagreements before and things never got this heated. A different friend entered the car and she showed restraint and understanding. We went from friends to a couple while she endlessly supported me through a long wave of depression. I've tried sitting her down and talking this out, but keep getting rebuffed. Just getting a mix of apologies and excuses. I'm trying to be gentle because I feel something is making an act out of character, and this year has not been easy. TLDR, wife keeps making hurtful comments and mean jokes to our friends, then acts regretful over it. How do I address this? So, looking at the comments, our first comment is, honestly, at the beginning of this, I was just thought she might be revealing a mean side to her, but cutting off a friend of 8 years over dinner and picking fights and being a bully when she's never been like that before is kind of concerning, especially considering her and Casey's friendship had never been like that. From your description, she seems like a usually amazing woman and very caring. This seems very odd. Have you noticed other changes in her behaviour, or maybe even her physical health? Maybe outlandish spending habits, or just anything slightly concerned? This could be some kind of manic episode, or possibly drugs. I don't want to jump the gun, but I am going through a very similar situation and ended up being mental health issues, or maybe something happened to her that she's really not ready to share. No matter what, something is happening that is the cause for concern. And OP replies to that with, earlier this year, father passed away. They had a strained relationship as her mother kicked him out after he turned violent. Over the last few years, the family, as in her brother's mom and her, have gotten on better terms with him, and she was delighted when he approved me. However, he still was a jerk. So I know she not only mourned her father, but also what could have been, since she still hoped he'd redeem himself. This was in February though, and her change in character started on May. And the comment that replies that says, that could be the trigger. Even though it happened a few months before, sometimes it could take a while to process until the grief really hits you. Like you said, she was hoping he could change, and maybe she could have had her dad. That's such a complicated relationship. It's awful she had to go through that. I do think this could be an episode due to the grief and maybe other things, but either way, she's definitely going through something. Has she talked to you about how she's feeling since that happened? Grief is such a process, and when it's someone as immediate as your parent, it's a very strange thing to go through. She could just be angry at everything right now, going through one of those stages. She might just need to do that. That doesn't mean you shouldn't call her out when she's being mean, but when she gets past the anger, she's going to feel regret for what she said and did, and it will be good to know that there's someone who understands why that happened. Make sure it's not affecting your mental health, and you have people to talk to also. And I feel like that's fair comments from that situation. That's fair comments. Reading through the story, like I was thinking, obviously there's something wrong here. And then we obviously get the information down in the comments about OP's wife losing her father, who had a very difficult relationship with. And I feel like OP, the only thing you can really do in this situation is like get your wife into therapy, get some counselling, some grief counselling, some therapy to deal with all those issues and unresolved feelings and stuff. The way your wife's treating people obviously isn't correct, and you've called her out for it and trying to make a point of it and trying to get to the cause of the issue and figure out what's going on with her. And obviously you says about losing her father. And I agree with the other comment where they say, this could be just everything building up and frothing over and her letting her out her emotions, obviously in a very negative and non-constructive way. Not that there is a constructive way to grieve, but it doesn't help when you push away the people around you, and it also doesn't mean you can be mean to them. So yeah, I hope you had look into counselling for your wife. And I'm sorry about the situation we're in, because that must be awful when you're stuck between all of your friends and then you're dealing with your wife, and it's a lot of stress because everyone's angry and upset and people are walking away, not talking to you anymore because of things your wife has said and done, and then you've got to deal with the fallout from that, as well as trying to help your wife as well. What do you think, guys? Let me know down below what you guys think of this situation. What do you think OP should do in this situation? Like I said, I think the only real solution is getting his wife, trying to talk to her into therapy or counselling to deal with what's going on. Moving on. This one comes from r/relationships and is, I, 38 male, my girlfriend, 31 female, is a bit of a wet blanket and it's affecting our social life. So I've been dating this girl for a little over a year. Most things around the relationship have been amazing. We have a good one-on-one connection, although I will admit I wish it was a little more playful. The problem as I see it is when I am with my friends, I like to be very light-hearted and playful and just really relax and have a good time. My girlfriend, on the other hand, doesn't really let her hair down When we play a game, she's often very serious and competitive. When we are sitting around socializing, she won't really banter and be silly. Or if we do something like go to the pool, she doesn't really relax and just kind of appears like she is waiting for the next thing or something. Given all this, she still is extremely present, confident, secure, and I know she feels perfectly comfortable in her own skin. I don't know if any of this makes any sense, but she just kind of comes off like a wet blanket a bit. My friends and others don't really enjoy spending time with her. This sucks for two reasons. She doesn't have a ton of friends and often complains about being lonely, which puts a bit of strain on our relationship. And also it sucks because I want my friends to have fun around my partner and I want her to add to the fun we are having rather than bringing it down. I don't know how to address this with her without being judgmental about her personality or just who she is, but it really makes me not want her around as much as when I'm being social with my friends, which really sucks for everyone. Please help. TLDR, my girlfriend's kind of drab, and when we are hanging out with friends or hosting a party, and it brings the energy down quite a bit. What can I do? And there's a fair comment to this post, because this post gave me a feeling. But here's a comment. Does she actually like your friends? I mean, looking at myself, I'm an extrovert and very social, but with the wrong group of people, I can also be like, you're describing your girlfriend. My friends have other friend groups as well, and some of them just suck the life joy out of me. I'm sure they consider what they have fun, but I definitely don't. Vice versa. I'm sure that they would hate spending time with my friend groups. If it's not just a mismatch in personality between your friends and her, it might be a mismatch between the two of you. There are no details on what exactly goes on to make her so stiff and uncomfortable. What behaviour is he willing to slide from his friend group that she is not? And that's fair points. This guy, this post makes me think that this guy is just having frat parties. He's 38 male, right? He's 38 male, and he's hanging around his friends wanting to have fun, going to the pool, and wants his girlfriend to be silly and playful with his friends. He also gets mad that she takes games seriously. Like, what? Of course you take games seriously. That's fine. You play a game, you want to win. Otherwise, what's the point of playing the game? Like, yes, you can have fun, but you're also serious about it as well. And just the comments about the way OP describes his girlfriend, like drab, a wet blanket, and he says like he wishes their one-on-one connection was more playful. Like, what does he mean? I feel like this guy is a college frat person, and his 31-year-old female partner is just a normal woman, just a normal lady, and he keeps taking her to these random cookouts and random barbecues and random pool days, and his friends getting drunk and being stupid, and she just doesn't enjoy it. I have literally no advice for this guy in this one, because I feel like he should just do her a favour and break up with her, because if this is love, I dread to think what hate is, because the way OP describes his girlfriend is not like he likes her at all. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Is it me, or does it seem like OP just doesn't like his girlfriend, and she wants a serious relationship? He's a 30-year-old male who wants to pretend he's still reliving his college years. That's what it seems like to me. Let me know what you guys think down below. Moving on. I, 35 male, girlfriend, 45 female. I feel like my relationship is no longer financially viable. About 2 years ago, she lost her job in a really crappy way. Her confidence was shot, and it took her about 18 months to find a new one. I racked up about 25k in high interest debt supporting her. I know this was probably a mistake, and I absolutely accept and admit that I made some poor decisions here, but a majority of that money was spent on bridging the gap from her loss of income. I love her and wanted to show her same support that was shown to me by my loved ones in my early 20s when I was going through some similar things. She's working now and is contributing enough to cover her share of the expenses. Back in March, I graduated with my bachelor's and I have a job lined up in a new city. The job pays really well and will set me up for a good career in my field. However, due to the increase in rent, my net financial situation will not change or will get slightly worse. I'll have about $700 a month left over for groceries, health insurance, student loan payments, and incidentals. I don't need to tell you how quickly that's gonna go. I was laid off last month from my job I had while going through school. We have enough saved to move, and I'm collecting UI. I have no idea what UI is, but I'm having to rely a bit on friends and family to make up the sudden difference in the meantime. I'm guessing this guy's bachelor's was not in English. I am looking, but we live in a small town. There are not many jobs, and many of jobs that are available are part-time and do not pay as well as UI. My girlfriend is planning on transferring to a new location in the city with her employer. However, I have several concerns here. In the 5 years I've known her, she's had 5 jobs and has been unemployed for about 24 months in aggregate. Her ability to hold a job is suspect, in my opinion. At first I thought it was just because she worked with crappy people, but after 5 jobs and 3 terminations, I have to ask, as mentioned above, I will have very little money left at the end of the month. If she loses her job after we move, I will be in an extremely tight on negative cash flow situation. There's a real chance that I will have to declare bankruptcy. Speaking of bankruptcy, I'll be working in a field where, while not a career killer, is definitely career limiting. If I was 25, I would be less concerned, but at my age, I have serious concerns over how it will affect my career trajectory and earning potential, as well as my other financial goals. I've already suffered a significant setback in taking on that debt. I've shown her a rough financial breakdown of what the move is going to look like. I've flat out told her that I don't think we can afford one, and she won't shut up about buying a car. All of the ones she's looked at are mid-noughties domestic makes with 100k plus miles. I'm not a car guy by any means, but I've known enough people with these cars to know they just don't last more than a year or two. I can't get her to consider an import, even though she seems to like mine just fine. Even then, it might be bearable if it was a cash purchase from Craigslist or some rubbish, but she keeps looking at financing through dicey dealerships. I've been paying over $700 a month on the loans I took out to refinance the debts incurred from her period of unemployment. I've made it clear several times that I really wanted to get the smallest one paid off before we move to free up some cash flow that we can use in a new, more expensive city. Despite agreeing to this, she has done very little of the things we talked about doing to tackle this, has volunteered no information, and becomes incredibly defensive if asked. I feel like crap for making this about money, but I really don't feel like it's fair to me and all of my hard work to put myself in a position where my career might be hamstrung before it even gets off the ground. On top of that, her actions, or lack thereof, through the last few years don't inspire much confidence. If I broke up with her and moved in with a friend, I could cut the amount of money I would need to survive until the job starts by 60%. Here are other issues too, but you can check my post history for that. But to summarise, I just really don't feel like a partner in this relationship. I feel like I've tried everything to make this work. I'm out of ideas and nearly out of energy. Is there anything left here? TLDR, girlfriend can't hold a job and has questionable financial literacy. Obvious questionable literacy. This has led me to take on a lot of debt to support her. I am moving to a new city to start a career, but I don't have a lot of confidence in her ability to retain financial stability, and if she loses it, I'll be in a very bad spot personally and professionally. I don't see a way to make this work, or reason to try anymore, do you? Now with this post, there's a lot of information that's left out. First of all, what was the bad situation that OP's girlfriend was in that caused her to lose her job. The one that he says was bad. Because I feel like that's pretty relevant, and I looked in the comments but couldn't find a comment about it. But I feel like that's pretty relevant because that could be pretty significant. Like, what kind of work environment was she in where she lost her job and wasn't able to find work for 18 months because something happened? But OP doesn't tell us what happened. Also, from this story, it sounds like OP can afford to live on their own off this $700 a month. It doesn't sound like OP is accounting even for his partner's, like, job in this, because he says he can move into his friend's house. If he broke up with his girlfriend, he can move into his friend's house, save 60% more money a month, and then he'd move to the new city and be paying rent on his own, because he wouldn't have a girlfriend anymore. I feel like, OP, you've made your mind up you don't want to be with her. I feel like just break up, clean break, get it over and done with, and stop dealing with it. I don't know how you're gonna save the 60% extra if you've got all these loans to pay either, because you're still gonna have to pay them if you break up with her. They're your loans. You admit in this story that these are your loans that you've took out. You also didn't say how much was actually her responsibility. You just says that you made some really bad decisions about money and ended up 25k in debt, and says that at least half of it was hers. So again, it's one side story, we don't know the other side. If she's that poor at keeping a job and you don't trust her to do the right thing, then it's best to break up. But I feel like we're really missing something here. What do you guys think down below? Do you think OP should just break up with his girlfriend, considering he doesn't trust her to do the right thing? Is it just he's so financially incapable? Or do you think OP should give her a chance? Personally, I feel like OP should just call it quits and let everyone move on and be happy in different directions, right? Thanks for watching the video. As always, like, comment, share and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.